All right, so we got the main event. Derek Brunson, Kevin Holland. Honestly, pretty close to the same record, which is pretty hard to believe because it's Derek Brunson has been around forever, but it speaks to the fact how active Kevin Holland has been. Kevin Holland 21-5, Brunson 21-7. Holland comes in at the minus 175 favorite. And listen, I really like Kevin Holland. I really do. And if the Jacare Souza fight did not happen, I think I'd almost kind of be leaning towards Derek Brunson in this fight. Just based on, like, if you look at body of work and who Holland had fought prior to fighting Jacare Souza, the competition wasn't that great. Derek Brunson's been in there with everyone. So, and based on what Brunson did to Edmund Shabazian. So I if this Jacare Souza fight didn't happen, I think I'd be leaning Brunson. We also have seen Kevin Holland. There's been moments where he hasn't looked great. The end of the Darren Stewart fight, he didn't look that great. There's been moments where you kind of scratch your head and you're like, I don't know. He had the one win. I forget exactly who it was against. It was a guy that's probably not even in the UFC anymore. He took it on short notice and beat him by Ontiveros, the guy that he dropped on his neck and got him to submit. The Darren Stewart win, it was good up until the end. He didn't look very good in the end. The Buckley, I mean, how good is Joaquin Buckley? Like, he had the big knockout, but how good is he? Fluffy Hernandez, he had a huge win. He beat him. So he's beaten DiChirico. He's beaten Mearshart. Lost to Brandon Allen. So I don't know. I'm going Kevin Holland here. I'm actually gonna go finish. Derek Brunson has tended to be chinny in the past, so I'll go Brunson by KO, or sorry, Holland by KO. But Brunson is on a 3-fight winning streak. He beat Theodora, Ian Heinisch, and Shabazian. So not really slouches, especially Ian Heinisch. Ian Heinisch is not bad. His last loss was to Izzy, so not a bad person to lose to, and he lost to Jacare Souza too. But yeah, look at his losses: Adesanya, Jacare Souza, Anderson Silva, Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero, Jacare Souza again. I mean, the people that he's lost to are killers, like some of the best to grace the octagon. And so, I mean, it's tough to pick against Brunson in this one, and he's all motivated. Like, he's ready to take on all these up and comers and be a gatekeeper in ways. Like, he's like, I'll beat all of these guys to get my name back up top. But I'm all in on. I'm kind of been all in on Kevin Holland. Like, I think 2021 is the year that he really can become a star. 5 fights last year. He's only getting better, and I think that you can attribute some of his bad moments in fights to the fact that he was just taking fights and fighting on 2, 3, 4 weeks notice. Like, he was just fighting to fight. So with a full camp, I think Kevin Holland is the truth. I think he's a problem. So I'm going Kevin Holland by KO.
Yeah, this is a head scratcher for me. I've been going back and forth on this one. We know who Derek Brunson is. This is going to be his 18th UFC fight. Like, we know what he is. He's fought everyone, like all the best guys in the division, has some big notable wins, which is awesome. The Edmund fight, Edmund's like 22 years old. I don't know how much stock I'm putting into that one. I know he was kind of knocking everyone out. He had a ton of hype, and Brunson was the guy to derail the hype train. The Heinisch win's pretty good. We know where Brunson is. Do we know where Holland is? He's number 10 right now. He doesn't have like mega names on his record. Obviously, he's super well-rounded. He can go to the ground. He can strike. He has power. He seems to have pretty decent cardio. I think that could play a big factor here, being a 5-round fight. But the thing about Holland is, it seems like, if anything, he struggles on the ground. He lost to Brandon Allen by submission. That's obviously a guy who goes to the ground a lot. Gerald Mearshart, when he beat him, he went split decision. He got taken down 6 times. I feel like if there's a path to victory for Brunson, it's going to be similar to the way that he did it to Shabazian, where it's going to be just kind of ragdolling him, getting up in his face, clinch work, getting it to the ground. And I know the only problem is Brunson can be like very reckless. He's pretty wild, and Holland can definitely take advantage of that, land a big shot, knock him out. He is a little bit chinny. So that's where I'm kind of struggling. Do I think Holland's going to land the big shot first, or do I think Brunson's going to kind of get this to the ground and make it a long night for Holland? I'm going to ride with Brunson in this one. It's very difficult for me to decide, but I am going to go Brunson, and I say he drags it out decision.
Yeah, I don't. the only thing that concerns me about Kevin Holland is his. It seems as if he doesn't really care about getting taken down to the ground. I mean, went up against Jacare, I was assuming that he would be scrambling for his life to not get taken down, and he just did in the first 30 seconds of the fight.
Right.
So that's the one thing that concerns me. My problem with Derek Brunson is I don't think he's going to go 25 minutes without getting touched. And once he gets touched, I think all is lost for Derek Brunson in a fight. You see it happen against Yoel Romero. Granted, it's fucking Yoel Romero, but against Izzy, it's just if he's scrambling and he realizes he can't do one thing, if he realizes he can't do anything in one facet of the game, it all comes crumbling down. He was having success against Edmund boxing, which was the most surprising thing to me. But I think once he mixed up his wrestling, it was a lot of issues. But with a guy like Kevin Holland, who's just gonna talk shit to you, slap you while you might be beating his ass, but he's still gonna be talking all sorts of nonsense to you. I think he's one of the most entertaining fighters in all of the UFC because of that. I just don't see Derek Brunson going 25 minutes without getting touched by him. So I got Holland via second round knockout. I think Derek Brunson is good, and I think anyone that can survive his onslaught of takedowns can survive anybody in the division. I think you see that whenever fighters are coming up. Whenever Whitaker went up against him and didn't get taken down, it was like, okay, his takedown defense is legit. And then he went and knocked out Jacare. Whenever Izzy didn't get taken down by him, he won the belt. Hasn't been taken down at 185 since, other than Yoel, for like 3 seconds. I think if Holland can get by him, because he seems to be improving every single time out as well, too. If he can get by him, I think he's one fight away from a title shot. It just depends on who that fight's against. I think if it's against Marvin Vettori, he's going to get humbled and then it's going to go down. If I think it's against someone that he can manage, like say Apollo Costa, say he loses that fight against Whitaker, then I think you can see him competing for a title. But it's all matchups, and I think the UFC should be smart about that. And I think this was one of those smart choices. So I'm going with Holland.
It's interesting you say if he can't go the full 25. If he fights like he did against Edmund, which was a lot more patient for the start, but you'd never seen Derek fight so smart, have you? Because of the danger that Edmund possessed in his hands, which was, as you said, so shocking that he outboxed him. But Kevin talks the shit and he gets under your skin.
Exactly.
And he's got cardio for days. He's got more dynamic striking. He doesn't care where the fight goes. The size difference is non-existent in this one. I think they're pretty evenly matched. I think Kevin's got a similar build to Izzy. And I think as you said, he's improved every single time. And Kevin improves by fighting, not by training almost. He likes the minutes in there. He doesn't mind getting smacked about. I can see the hype carrying on for Kevin right now. I can see it cruising through. I don't see a decision either, but I do see Derek gassing. If he gets hit, if he gets not necessarily dropped, but just tippy-tapped with the jabs, with the low kicks. Kevin's liking the spinning stuff. Anything just to throw Derek off his game a little bit, he'll lose his mind. He always does. He goes down the pan. So I'm going to say fourth or fifth, late round, just a stoppage. Just TKO for Kevin there. Yeah.
You can see it when sorry, Josh. You can see it in like Brunson's eyes when he gets hit. It looks so much different than other fighters. Like he's holy shit, I'm actually in an octagon getting hit. Like
was it the Izzy fight when he was like getting hit and he just like kept stumbling forward and getting hit again and again?
He did it against Whitaker too. Just kept running at him. He'd get hit. Oh shit.
He's battle. Yeah. It's so hard to go 5-0 in a year. And then you're asking him to start off 2021, basically, 6 fights in a row as quick as you could possibly do it. It almost seems impossible. And to have 3 of you guys, and you guys kind of broke it down super well, all the things that are going into this fight, and only one of you, since Steve is picking Derek Brunson, I feel like that's a little shocking. I would be mad at myself if I picked Brunson, because do I really want that? I think to myself, do I really want that for the middleweight division? I don't really want Derek Brunson to put himself back up there with the top guys, because we've seen him already. And this is a kind of a new, fresh Kevin Holland, great personality, great marketability. They call him Big Mouth, and he eats right into everything. So for the storyline of being 6-0, it's basically been 1 full year. I mean, this guy has never stopped fighting. This is the longest camp he's taken in how long? Maybe since Thiago Santos, he's had this long of a layoff. So when it boils down to it, Kevin Holland, I think, does have the finishing power. He's very, durable. He can take a shot. Derek Brunson doesn't show a lot of power all the time. He did in the Shabazian fight for sure. He was cutting him up and really damaging him. But in this fight, I think Kevin Holland squeaks out a decision. It's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. I don't know what Derek Brunson we're going to see. And Kevin Holland during a layoff or off a layoff, that's kind of scary to me at least. So, but going 5-0 in a year is hard. And then starting off the next year 1-0 again, doing it all over again just seems like such a mental task. But Kevin Holland might be up for it. So give me Kevin Holland by decision.
What's the age difference between the two?
Because we got young, 28 years old for Holland, and then Brunson's 37.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not a young fish, is he?
I wouldn't say
that could play a part as well. He must be near in the end. Because these middleweight, you got Vettori, as you say, you got Till. They're all mid-20s. They're all prime right now. You've got Robert looking amazing. Paolo's still there with his wine. You've got plenty of people. So 37 is not prime in this division.
Well, Brunson's like one of those guys who was very up and down, and then all of a sudden now he's sitting on that 3-fight win streak, like an older fighter, like a Glover Teixeira or a Jan Blachowicz. Like they have turned a corner, and now they're like borderline contender. Yeah, is this the wall? Is this the wall?
If it's not, it's going to make that middleweight division, as Josh just said, really fucking boring.
Yeah. Also, I mean, to go back to my point about beating Derek Brunson, these are his losses. Kendall Grove back in 2012, right?
The Spider.
Last from the past.
Check this out. Jacare, Yoel, Robert Whitaker, Anderson Silva, Jacare again, and then Israel Adesanya. Those are his losses.
The elite of the elite.
The elite of the elite. Outside of Kendall Grove. But the elite of the elite. I mean,
but then who's the best he's beat? Who's the best he's beat? Flip it.
The best he's beat Machida. Well, older Machida, but he beat
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, he beat Lorenz Larkin, Chris Lieben. He beat Ian Heinisch. Then he stopped Edmund Shabazian, beat Elias Theodorou, who's good God, so bad.
He's a ring boy, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen anyone so slow. Elias Theodorou fights like he's.
But that's the point. Who's he beaten compared to who's Kevin's just beaten?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Kevin just beat a person that he lost to twice, and I was going to say that. Yeah, I still, and I think Kevin Holland is on his way to that top tier. I don't think he's championship material yet. I'll be honest. I think a fight with him and Izzy would be hilarious, because to have someone in there just talking shit to Israel Adesanya would just be so funny, But I think Kevin Holland's on his way up there, and I think this might be the start of Derek Brunson's decline, where he actually gets beat by an up-and-coming prospect. Because right now he's just in that gatekeeper role where he's like, oh, any up-and-coming prospect is going to go up against them, Yeah, so we'll see.
Holland, now known as the Netherlands, where my ancestors came from, known for their windmills. I think Kevin's going to come out. He's going to harness the power of those windmills, and he's going to blow the Brunson Burners pilot light out. So I'm going Holland knockout.